All right, we're live. Guys, thank you for joining for today's session. Today is actually session number 15 already. It's anonymous mock interview with the hiring managers, and today is for uh, QA positions, for QA, mostly QA engineering positions. All right. So who will be participating in today's session? Dmitry Kochubey, he will be joining into this session in about 20 minutes. Uh, we'll see. And my name is Evgeny Kim. I'm a managing director at SkillsJump. And previously, I used to be SDET at company Visa, at Verify, and other 4 different companies previously. Uh, but right now, I'm doing mostly focusing on recruiting, and I'm helping companies to find the best candidates. And also, I helping candidates to get prepared for the interview. And this is actually what we basically doing. But disclaimer, this is educational event and there's no guarantee of job opportunities, right? And everybody who is participating here, all managers, including myself, we're representing only our own sole opinion, right? So don't get mistaken that it is a job opportunity. However, what you need to keep in mind that all of our managers who is participating in our mock interviews and watching our mock interviews, actually the active hiring managers, right? And we already have several people who got hired through this activity. So we have people who got hired in San Diego, we have people who got hired in Los Angeles, and so on. So even it's a mock interview, but take it seriously. Get prepared, right? This is a key. So how it works? You guys able to see my screen, right? Slides. Hit the plus sign, so I can see you. Yes, awesome. So how it works? All our candidates should prepare 2 questions, really. Tell me about yourself and what did you do at your last project? Uh, those 2 questions we combine in one, basically. I'll give a limit for 4 minutes. This is actually a hard requirement. So you need to be prepared to make this story in 4 minutes. If it's gonna be longer than 4 minutes, unfortunately, I have to cut you off. So make sure that you line up your story in 4 minutes, all right? And then after that, we do follow-up questions. Like usually what happened during the real interview, right? And only after that, we will give the feedback, instant feedback. What went well, and what should be improved. Obviously, this is our opinion, and it's totally up to you. Do you want to apply this feedback, or you want just keep going? But I can tell you right away, this is the most valuable what you can get, because most of the time when you go through the interviews in the real world, right, you usually got rejected without actually getting the feedback. Very rare, but most of the time you won't get any feedback, right? All right, so that's about it, how it works. Another thing, like how to participate. One more time, to participate, you need to go to. I will send the link in the chat, and in the link will be in the description as well. We got our website. You go there. You just need to fill out the application again, um, and then we will contact you through the email. And then you need to participate in onboarding session. That's pretty much it. Nothing nothing crazy. Or you can go into our meetup page, and there's also steps how what you should do, right? I think it's clear. I think it's clear. And as I said, we do not do any filtering resumes as you would, as really HRs or recruiters would do, right, before actually uh, taking pull up your resume. So we accepting all resumes. There is only one requirement. We want to see your actual um, working history there. Um, We don't want to see, and we don't want to see any fake history or fake experience. And this is I'm saying because we really see this a lot. This is the only one requirement. As long as you put there the real stuff, we're totally okay. Whatever stuff you have there, and we'll give you feedback here. All right. Okay. Cool. Let me stop share my screen, and let me able other people start sharing their screen. Okay, candidate number one. I see you here. Are you ready to participate in our mock interview?
I'm as ready as we can get, I guess.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's do this. Can you share your screen, your resume with us, so we can see? Meanwhile, I will put the timer, and once you will get ready, I'll hit the timer. Then.
I'm hoping you can see it.
Awesome, perfect. So,
Okay.
candidate number one, please tell us about yourself and about your last experience or last project.
Sure, yeah. So roughly 16, 17 years ago, I received a contract position with the company, having no QA experience. This was working on a firewall and IDS, which became IPS after a while, and impressed the developers on that team enough that they wanted to fight through the hiring freeze and get me on full time, because they did not want to lose me before we added support for the Vista IPv6 and 64-bit architecture release. Stayed with them for 5 years and left the company, came back after a couple years, joined the Mac team, having no formal Mac experience besides just a little basic every once in a while, and was put on to the licensing team, which consisted of me and one developer. It's one of the harder components of the endpoint security software as far as technical stuff goes, and worked on that for quite some time. Demonstrated my ability to learn hard technologies and product knowledge. So that transferred me into the position that was previously in, which, if you look at my resume, you'll see team lead, product owner, SDET, principal SQA specialist, because I could wear many hats, able to multitask, pick up new things and excel with it. So, depending on what day of the week it was, what hour of the day it was, I would be doing one of those tasks. That was on the release team. So always busy, always pushing something out. So tasks would include daily stand-up, daily scrub meetings, weekly release planning meetings, weekly sync-up meetings with testers and developers in Chennai, India, weekly meeting with support teams, and generally what else would come up in a release cycle. And we worked under Kanban. So we were the only agile team on the Mac team that used Kanban. Everyone else was using Scrum. So we were kind of on our own on the learning curve on that. So we implemented that, worked with our agile coaches. And since I was the Kanban board owner, I was the one who pushed the policies and methodologies, whatever you want to call it, working with the team to refine our process. And that's a pretty decent summary of what I was doing in my last role.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Especially the last one. Like you have so many hats at the same time. Candidate number one, can you tell me like where are you going actually? Uh, what is your ideal position you want to get?
And that's the always a interesting thing when you look at what I've done. It's like, well, which one do you prefer? And honestly, that's the thing is I like all of the software development process. So, for instance, there would be times where I don't code, and then I'll start coding, and I'm like, oh man, I miss this. This is fun. This is challenging. Um, but I like to be part of the planning process too. So the thing is, you say what I want to do, I kind of just want to do what I've been doing, getting myself into everything because the reason why I like that so much is I like the challenge. I like the constant, we need you to do this, Matt. Can you do this? And if not, can you delegate? Can you get the right people in there? I like the whole process. I like getting my hands dirty, and I especially like being busy.
Hmm. Do you like more coding or still managing the processes?
Both, both. So if you're gonna say what I spent my most time on, when I started the product owner role, I told my boss, I'm like, there's a lot of testing to do. And if you have me in product owner, we can potentially get behind in testing. Where do you want my focus to be? Product owner first. So I would say maybe 10% of my time was on automation, but um, there were times where I would put a lot more focus into it, and that's why you see on my career achievements, reducing the 3-week release time by a week through automation. That's an estimate. It's probably more than that, but that was one of the last things that I did on that team was about 4 or 5 months of coding to get that, and I almost did that exclusively on my own. And it's like, oh boy, this is fun. Like, maybe I should have this 20% or whatever. So yeah, there's a I like being involved in all of it. That's
Mhm.
that's my best answer.
That's the best answer, but honestly, that will be confusing for people because it's like, what do you want to get? This apple or this apple? And you say, I won't get all the apples. And honestly, you should decide, right? Um, they, is this company like a startup?
No,
Where it's not.
not by any means. No,
Hmm, that's interesting. Okay.
it's been
Uh,
around for a very long time.
okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Um, yeah, because here's I got confused when then where we should go with you, right? Because if we would go with the QA, I would ask like, okay, let's talk about QA, let's talk about the processes. But you're saying, okay, I like product development and being involved in the decisions as a product owner. And then, okay, we maybe need to move to another direction. You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree, and that's when being on the job hunt, I'm applying to multiple roles and different things, and so I have to every time obviously write a targeted resume.
How
And
long how long you've been on the job market already?
basically middle of January.
Middle of January. So it's like 2 months. So how is going? And guys, and candidate number one, I also right now putting my head off of the interviewer, and let's talk about like because I'll give you the feedback right after. All right, tell me
Okay.
like what is your uh, situation in job market? Did you get through the interviews already? Uh, like, what is
I've
that?
yeah, I've been through the interview process 11 times now.
For what positions?
Huh? Sorry.
For what positions? What kind of
Uh,
positions is that?
Mostly QA, but I most recently was actually for a product owner role.
Uh-huh. Okay. So how it goes?
various degrees. So sometimes I would be, end up with only getting through the recruiter, um, and sometimes it's been through multiple interviews.
Did you get any feedback like that?
No,
Not yet. Okay.
no.
Here. Okay. Here's my guess why. Uh, and I think I can talk about the feedback.
Sure.
So the biggest challenge you already gave me, because as I watched your resume previously, and I see your current position, team lead slash product owner slash as that principal, as QA specialist. That's a lot, to be honest. Being an as that's a very time consuming process. And you cannot be a product owner at the same time. So that's why a lot of people get confused. Mean, Meanwhile, what you can do, and I would change your strategy completely. So you need to have, as you said, you have to have two different resumes. If you want to go to the product, so then go to the product with a resume as a product owner on it, without these slashes as that principal as QA specialist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And at the same time, same thing should be applied for QA position. If you go to QA, or if you go to as that, actually,
Mhm.
even if you have QA on your resume won't be pulled up for as that position, unless if you specify this directly, and you let people know, okay, I'm a as that, and here's why I'm good at this, and this is what I've done, and this is what outcome,
Mhm.
right? Don't mix. Basically, separate, make it two different resumes. I can tell from the. I mean, I didn't even ask you technical questions though, uh, because I didn't have a chance uh, to move to that direction.
Mhm.
However, I have feeling that you should be pretty good on that. And But you have to decide which direction you go, right? As that is a very technical position, and probably we would do some coding exercises already, right?
Mhm.
And at the same time, product owner is a different skill set, which include also testing, right? Because I know a product owner, they test by themselves all the time. They it's basically their baby. They should be make sure that the features that they were developing, they're actually working as they design, right?
Mhm.
So the same thing. I think this is your bottleneck, and you should definitely. I mean, I have no questions about technical skills. I can assume that you should be good on it, and even if you don't have enough technical skills, then you will know what kind of technical skills you need to get more, right? Or like it's very easy to pick it up actually. It should be not a problem for you. I think.
Well, I agree with that, and what I feel, um, and it says, well, it doesn't, well, in my resume it does say, I've worked with firewalls and endpoint security. Um, that most of, SDETs are working on automation, and most of the stuff is going to be web-based or mobile-based, and I don't have experience on that at
Okay.
all. And I
Uh,
think that I think that's also a big thing that eliminates me from a lot of positions, even though those are not hard skills. I've worked with Selenium in the past, and I'm, wasn't, it didn't scare me off.
Honestly, if you ask that, it doesn't mean that you was working with a Selenium only, or with mobile, or Appium only. As that can do a lot of things, which is including developing, right?
Yeah.
You can you could do backend testing, completely automating that, and if you did that, Yeah, that's another thing. Even in the SDET role, there's different varieties. There are
Sure.
some specific SDET for mobile. There are some specific roles for web-based application, which is including obviously Selenium WebDriver as well. Uh, but there is also backend testing, right? And testing microservices, like testing. It's not only Selenium.
Well, yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is
Can
I
you
don't
can
have
okay
experience
okay
in any of them.
let me ask you a question then. Can you tell me a little bit more about, because I actually don't have that experience in security. Maybe you can educate me and tell me what you've done as that uh, with your product.
So what I did um, was being on the release team. There was a whole bunch of tests that we would have to run manually each time, and I got tired of it.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, I can do so much here to make life easier. Um, so in this case, um, there was 5 features that I tried to work on. One of them, was something very basic, and that has to do with branding. So this was just a matter of pulling up UIs, taking screenshots, so we can compare the logos. Um, Another one has to do with, well, 2 of them had to do with registries, um, where we just needed to validate the data. One of them is for updates, and the other one is for data. And I'm drawing a blank on the other two.
Can you explain like how did you validate, like what do you use?
So
Yeah.
so the automation team that we had wrote a whole framework. So all the Python that I was writing would use their framework.
Wait,
So
hold on. Which framework, Robert?
no, this was in Python.
Yeah.
This
What kind of? I understand that.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's a proprietary in-house framework.
Okay. Okay.
So I really didn't have any kind of formal training on it. It was
Mhm.
is more of, okay, let me look at test cases that you guys have already automated, and I would just go in there and be like, oh, okay, I see how you're doing this. I can mimic that, and learned as I went, and got better at techniques, and the problem that I had was that we had to actually um, run this in an automation environment in order to see the results and whether things are working or not. So I got better at making sure that I you know double checked my work, and before posting it up there, because it was an hour turnaround time. And if something like that was running, then I would multitask and jump on the next feature and try to get that going and working in parallel with the automation, to speed up the my productivity. um,
Yeah, but okay. Can you walk me a little bit more deeper? So you was validating the updates of the data. Is it what you're saying?
and sometimes, so most of this stuff had to do with the build system,
Mhm.
and we would have certain products, and different flavors of the product, and we all had to make sure they had the same kind of backbone. Or if the product was different, then the differences would be there. So for instance, there'd be a registry, and it would say trial if it were trialware. It would say retail if it were retail. It would say something else. I don't want to say what it is, just in case it's proprietary. But you'd have different ones. And if for some reason a trialware layout was not a retail layout, even though it says it was, um, it could affect completely affect the behavior of the product or what was displayed in the UI. So there would hardly ever be problems in that. But if there was a problem in that, it would blow up in the field and cause a huge problem. So even though likelihood of a problem wasn't high, um, you had to put the attention into it.
Yeah. So did you write the test So you validate these updates, and it was asserted. Like, how did it work?
Yeah. So basically, I'll try to give an example.
Yeah.
Um, so there's one registry that would handle updates, and it would have 6 or 7 different possible updates. It would a name of a feature, for instance. So it might be the name of the product, and another one might be the branding of the product. Um, it would also contain a version, and it would contain a language. And if those three things had to match, if those things did not match, it would not get the update. So based on the installer used, the automation would say, okay, you're using this installer here. Here's what we're expecting. And the automation would read from the file that was installed, parse it, separate it, compare it to the expected results, pass if it passed. If it failed, it would write to a log, and say exactly what was the thing that was missing, what the actual issue was. So that way, it would not take an SDET to go in there and see what the problem is. Anybody could run it and open up the log and easily see, oh, this is what the problem is, write the bug, minimal effort.
Mhm. Was it in a part of the process continuous integration, right?
Yes and no. So that was, part of the goal, yes. So this was part of our regression testing, but we don't necessarily need to add it to every build, but there's no harm into that either. And the sooner you put it in there, the better. So yes, that was the plan, is to put that in there, but it wasn't more of just a regression test, something you need to make sure that's ready for release.
Got it. Got it. Okay, I think let's move on with the feedback then. Uh, so as I mentioned before, right? Just you need to separate all those things.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to you need to. So what I really like from your resume, I see that you're pretty experienced guy, and as I said, I wouldn't ask that much questions, and I would focus on something, you know, QA or product, if that would be for product. But that's that's your job to separate it and give a direction where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, nobody knows, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is your total completely job to give a navigation like, okay, I'm applying for QA and this is why, and this is my skill set, and this is what I was doing. And if you are as that, yeah, definitely. But if from the story of as that, honestly, it's a it is a little bit confusing. You and I would go with a with a screen sharing, and I would ask you to explain, to draw, to walk me through more in details. Right?
Mm.
We don't have that much time right now, but this is why you should be focused on something specific. So I have time, and interviewers will have more time to get you know in specific domain that they are looking, right?
Yeah.
If you would apply for, as I probably repeated myself, if you would apply for that, we would talk about these processes, right? And you would be able to explain me more so I could understand, okay, oh, this is what you've been doing, right? But
Mhm.
at this moment, I am not sure what you've been doing there. I have an ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. And this is, I think this is the main, again, the main bottleneck for you. Um, Resume is fine. You can keep it as it is, I think. I mean, the only thing you, as I said, in resume, you need to separate your experience.
Yeah.
Got it?
Definitely.
All right, candidate number one. Congrats for being number one. And you know, if you will do at least like 10% what I've done, you should improve your interviewing skills. I think you will be good. You'll be good. You just focus yourself. Because this is a very common mistake actually for many people, especially experienced people. They have done so many things that they don't know what they actually do and what they actually have to go. And this is also common mistake, common, I would say, common pitfall for many experienced guy who don't know what they're doing, right?
Mhm.
All right, man. Good luck with everything, and I'll see you. I mean, in our maybe next mock interviews, or maybe you will update us that you got another job.
That would be the best outcome.
Yeah, definitely. All right, candidate number one.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too.
Alrighty, let me stop sharing. Okay, we have candidate number two ready. Again, let me, guys, you guys, you can post the questions here as well. Let me send you a link how to participate in our further mock interview sessions. It's in the chat, and join to our Slack channel as well, so we can chat there too. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll post it here. All right. Okay. Candidate number two, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Today is Friday, you know. So, are you able to share your screen with us?
Uh, see, it's now. I already start sharing. Are you? It's visible to you?
Yeah. That's I can see it. Great. Okay. Candidate number two. Um, please tell us about yourself and about your last project or your last experience where you've been.
Sure. I'm candidate number two. Um, I began my career in travel industry as a frontline consultant, as a support. Where I did different perform. I did different roles as in frontline, and within few months I moved to tech support, where I will handle all my consultants, frontline, online support, remote, as in tech support analyst. I implement a lot of products there. In travel domain is a completely different industry than software industry. It's in we say is a completely cryptic more industry. You have a different GDS. We work on different times, different products, different projects we have. I implement a lot of products there, front end, back end, mid office, and I did there also some type of QA testing. Just like when we have a new release, new enhancements or new updates are coming, so we are start working on the alpha testings.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of alpha testings there, and that gave me a little more. They pop me more up that you have to do something more about that. So then I will just engage with my development teams in my head office, and I do a lot of new updates. What the market requirements are there. I do what the market survey, what the demandings are there. Then last year, as I moved to states, and that we have a few challenge when we are moving from other country to states. We have in documentations and other. So I have a lot of times, I cannot do anything on that time. So I'm just searching about here and there, and I found some boot camps. And last month I completed my boot camp, and this is a very good. I've just polished up my more skills about QA, which I did in past as an alpha testing. Now I know that what is the complete methodology, how the techniques, what to do. I did and 4 projects in my last boot camp. I already mentioned in my resume is in service, job centric service web app, and one is audio streaming web app, and one is mobile messaging app, and one is weather app. So I work on this boot camp, and I just try to skill more about that. I'm still them contact, and I'm just still practicing myself to polish up more my QA skills.
So okay, so let's get back to your experience where you have been doing the alpha testing. So having this knowledge that you gained in your boot camp, how would you test it differently?
Oh, it's a completely different one. It's a boot camp. I tell you, in alpha testing, we did just what the market demands or what the market is required. And at boot camp, it's a completely 360-degree different angle. You have to check with the customer point of angles, with the product point of angles. I think with the 360 view, you have to check everything on the revenue side, on the marketing side, sales side, consumer side. So you need everything in one basket, and you have to think like an 360-degree version.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I'm asking. So imagine you went back to your company as a tester, as a QA engineer. How would you test this application?
Of course, now I have a very different point of view of thinking and vision. I cannot check like before. Now we have a complete different stories. We have a different scripts. We have a different techniques. I never ever check about boundaries value. Now I have to do that. I never about this classic partition. Now we have to do that. I don't know about that before. I'm telling you before. I'm just checking 1%. Now after the boot camp, I have a 99% more knowledge about the manual completely, how to test the product. And before we are just emphasizing what customer are going to face. Now I have to check what the behind the screen. So as I told you, this is a completely different travel domain. Is a completely different industry. So we don't have that objects we don't have any GUI. We have a completely like an encrypted environment. So we are checking on that environment, and that is completely pre-production. If we have one error, it will be affect all airlines. I mean, it's affect everywhere. But now I think if I'm going to do now this alpha testing, I think I can find more bugs than before.
Yeah, suppose you alpha testing is obviously it's already on production, but suppose you would test and can you walk me through what kind of application was it?
Sure, why not? This is a GDS, Global Distribution System. It's a top 5 in the world. There is a top 5 GDS, and this is one of that GDS. I work on that as tech support specialist. What type of this application? This application is completely encrypted mode, just like in Linux screen. So we have a different command to run on that. Each command have different parameters, different syntax to get the results. Like suppose you have to travel from JFK to California. In specific, only in this sector, you can use more than 1,000 command on that. So you can find the different classes, you can find the different RBDs, that is also subclasses. You can find the via flight, you can find the direct flight, you can find the cheapest flight, you can find the minimum connection flight, you can find the direct flight. So, so that type of testing on that. That's a different world. It's a different world.
Yeah, definitely. Got it. Okay, let's move with your bootcamp experience. So I see that you have 4 projects there. That's pretty impressive. Which one you like the most?
Audio streaming one.
Audio streaming. Okay, let's talk about it. So that is streaming web app. So you was doing API and SQL testing there. Can you tell me a little bit more and walk me through like what did you do there, like how you did it, what you was using?
Okay, sure. This is an audio streaming app. It's just like an normal standard app with the YouTube add-ons. You can use the YouTube add-ons on that. And as I told you, it's a very interesting for me because there is not that visualized. We have to think about about the what the sounds and the volumes are upon that. That we have to think and we have to work on that one. Sometimes some elements we have to identify rather this is play or pause. You know, our manual testing. Okay, we can go through that manual testing that its element is play or stop. Then we can just catch upon that. But sometimes it's completely mess up and completely mess up for the audio streaming. So that's a very interesting for me. And about that, you have to create different playlists about you, and we can just I work on the API testing regarding some type of validations on the playlist validation, some SQL data validation. What the my playlist I add on the front end, it is reflecting same on the SQL database, and something whatever I change on the SQL database, it is reflecting on the web on the front end or not. Same thing upon API token registration. It's a very interesting project for me, and I work on that. As in, I found the bug. I just log on the Jira. I use the Jira tool there. I found different requirement on Confluence. Wherever I stuck somewhere, before I can go somewhere else, I have to contact. I have to check it out the requirements. Rather, I'm doing the wrong or I'm doing the right. If I'm doing the right, if everything is fine, then I can just concern with my other teams. Okay, this is the problem is coming. It is bug or it is design as business. So it's a comparison between requirements and comparison between bugs. Sometimes happens, sometimes not. But it's a good go through for me. It's a different world for me. I enjoy this one. So I thought maybe I will start learning more about that. So I just now starting about the automation with the Python, little bit about that with the PyTest. And I work also on this application with the Cucumber and JS Node, but that is a very, 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 just like an flash for me that you can work on that with the different libraries, with the different framework. It's a pre-designed framework. You just have to change the element and just go through that.
Yeah, let's dig into this audio streaming web app and the testing of it, right, with the API. Um, can you give me like maybe any bugs that you have found during the testing, and how was the process of debugging it?
To bug in it. Yes, okay. Just start with the test cases. We have a story count that you have to find the play. The story user logged in and user is play the music and log out. That's the story we have received, and then we start as in writing the test case. User enter with the valid credentials. User go on the play button. User have to play the button and music have to play. That's the test case, and when we going to reproduce the test, reproduce the when you're going to test this case, and suppose it will fail, user got the play button and user try to
Wait, wait, wait. Am
click the button, hit the button, but button hit found that bug, and I just reported as in Jira how to reproduce user. I think my internet connection is okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking if it's on my side, but it looks like maybe it's on your side.
Yeah,
Can you
understood.
repeat it again? Like with you said that the test case was user supposed to log in, hit the play button, log out, right?
Play the user hit the play button, and music must start it, or music must user must listen the music,
Mm-hmm.
and user got the user want to log out, and user have to log out. This is
Uh-huh.
the test cases we wrote down.
Okay, and
While
what?
executing, we found the bug that user login with the valid credentials, pass, user got the play button, user tried to click, the button is clicked, the user button is clicked, but music not played.
Uh-huh.
So this is the bug, and we
Hold
can
on,
just
hold on. How do I know that it is a bug? What did you do to make sure that it's actually a bug?
sure. I just stop it. As I told you, I can just try to reproduce the same bug.
Mm-hmm.
I just log out. I just close the browser, restart the browser, try to log in again with the valid credentials. It's validate, and I go again on the same player. I try to hit button again, and it's not play. So I reproduce this the same bug with 3 times. Then I found the same thing. If somebody already reported in Jira or not, I try to find the dupe. I cannot find it, then I just go for that.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried to do some debugging, like investigation of what was behind the scene?
Not what was I just try with the elements, web develop dev tools.
Uh-huh.
What the element behind that? I'm trying to find
Okay.
out that element, and
But you've done this through the browser, right?
yeah,
Have you tried to hit the endpoint with the Postman?
no. That's I'm telling you, I use Postman for just get the token and get the
Okay.
playlist. That's a very little validation. I'm telling you, API and SQL is a very vast field, and I have to more dig about that. But I'm just right now started with SQL right now. I just start with SQL a little bit about
Okay.
that.
Was there any suggestions or clue in the DevTools in the browser? What, at least, like what kind of error it gave you?
No, I cannot find. I cannot more dig about the error about that. I just find that element, and I just try to. I try to, more detail about that element and put on the Jira.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Uh, what the other maybe
But
projects you can walk me through as well?
sure, the mobile messenger app is that's one is also impressive for the individuals. We have a lot of issue found about this one. Like we don't like Android user have a different bug. Like Android user cannot add the group to the video call, and iPhone, I use both devices, and iOS have a bug. I found that you cannot use the free draw or the text message on the sharing screen with the group.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Sure, why not? In mobile app on iOS, I found that there is a bug on the group when we are going to use the free drawing, freehand drawing,
Yes.
just
Mhm.
like in pitching anything. So we tried that. I cannot find that button in iOS.
Mhm.
The same button available in Android.
Mhm.
In Android, when we are going to add other participants in group call, it's not adding in Android, but in iOS is adding. So that type of bugs we find, and we almost that app is also too buggy.
Uh, Maybe it was a feature, or maybe it was in the development process.
Yeah, for dig about more about that, we try to find the requirement on the wiki page, but Unfortunately, the requirements are not clear. So we just
Yeah,
reported. We report it to our lead, and lead can also say, okay, maybe it was designed, but the main core concept about that is you have to know that what the different. Sometimes the native app have a different design as a different, as you told right now, but sometimes it's not. But usually, as an user, you have to find the same features in the both devices to go through that. Sometimes users are switching. Sometimes the iOS are upgrading. Sometimes, so you must be go through with the same features to go for that.
got it, got it. All right, let's wrap it up. Let me give a feedback. I'm not sure if Dmitry will join, but here's my feedback. Let me start with the resume. Definitely, resume with this resume, it's not impressive. All right. Why it's not impressive? These 4 lines of your projects doesn't give me anything, any idea what you have been doing. It's just a statement. It's like just a saying that you see. I have a guitar in my room, and if I would say a guitar, but what you do with this guitar, I have no idea. Did you crafted it? Are you playing on this guitar? What you have done with these projects? I have no idea what you have done with these projects, right? And and since you're applying for QA engineering position, this is the most emphasizing thing should be on your resume, nothing else. I mean, definitely your tech support in previous companies, definitely it helps. And I actually started with this experience because with this experience you actually can walk me through on your real uh, project, right? In the real company. Um, but you transferred me to, like, okay, it's totally different, and um, I decided, okay, let's maybe jump into the bootcamp experience. But honestly, with this resume, um, you have to you have to pray to uh, that recruiters or HR will pick it up this resume. They won't, because it doesn't uh, state anything about QA. It's just the first how many bullets in the top of summary, which usually you should actually just put something which is the most important and related to QA, right? And I see there are some words, uh, front end functional E2E testing, but I would rather explaining this in the uh, in this section where you have actually done some activities during the your bootcamp. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. So you need definitely to reformat, work on your resume, more than just mobile weather app or mobile messaging app. It's not helpful for interviewer, right? And then, as I said, your previous experience is actually can be helpful if you can transfer and if you can think through what you actually have done as a tester, and you can develop your story much more stronger. You know, as I said, the main focus here is to be focusing because uh, as a manager, they looking specific skill set, right? In terms of QA engineering, okay, what you have done as a QA, nothing else. Yes, personalities thing also interesting, and your interests. I see that you're interested in Python and you start doing something with that, right? That's awesome. That's totally cool, but you need to have strong story about the career experience, and both for I mean, I was able to ask you about just two, and you choose them. uh, these these projects, uh, educational projects that you have been working on. But honestly, it doesn't sound also, I would say, strong enough. Because, okay, audio streaming web app, you found an issue. As an engineer, you should be curious why it's happening, at least at your level. Like, okay, you have, I mean, and again, I totally understand this is a educational project, and you probably was doing whatever you have been told to do. But curiosity as an engineer should be there. And if you see that this is an issue, you should be make sure that it is an issue, because maybe it's not an issue. Maybe the server is down, and the server is completely different thing. Uh, and how you can figure it out? Well, you can check in the browser, and you can see the response code that you hitting the endpoint, right? And you stated here API testing, so I assume that you have done something, but nothing really you specified. And with the SQL, even I couldn't go further to that. So if I would be in your place, I would probably just keep maybe further projects, but I would start digging into that and mastering, uh, so I could have a good story. I mean, whatever you were saying, it wasn't convincing, you know. So mastering those two projects at least, but you should be okay. I've done as a tester this, and that, and that's what I was using, and this is what I was, um, and this is how I use that, right? And this is the outcome how I got that.
Got you, got you. I
Does
got
it
you.
make any sense?
Sure, sure. That's why I really appreciate your feedback, and that's why I just want to craft it accordingly. What I did and what the output I got you.
Yeah, I would probably cut the half of your summer qualification into the half. Again, this is totally my opinion, and you shouldn't take it as it is. You should question it, obviously. But this is what I would do. I would probably cut it on half, and I would explain those keywords and those, uh, okay, performed API testing data using Postman. I would transfer these things into my bootcamp experience, and I would explain what what I have done with the Postman, how I did it, and do, I would show the process. You need to show the picture. You need to show the story, because most of the, and this is the problem with most, I would say most bootcamp students. They have very similar. Yeah, actually, not very similar, but it's still not good. Most bootcamp students, they have very similar resumes, and you need to stand out from the crowd, definitely. All
Sure.
right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, candidate number two. I wish you good luck. I think, well, in a positive side, I can tell you that you was prepared at least your story, and you was sounds pretty confident. And this is actually a big step, because the interviewing is, uh, could be nerve-wracking process. It's just a skill. You have to practice it, and you should be good. Yeah, I think you should be good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And really, I will, whatever your feedback, I will just go through that, and I will keep in contact with you. Thank you once again.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we have done with the candidate number two. Uh, let's move. Oh, wait. Where's candidate number three? Narita.
I'm sorry, he's back.
I'm here. I was just got back
Okay.
to the attendees.
Yeah. Candidate number three. Okay.
Can you see my resume?
I can see your resume. Give me 1 second. Let me put the timer and we can actually start. Yeah.
All right.
Dmitry just sent me a message. He's stuck in the meeting. Friday.
I
So,
got you.
okay. We should be good. We should be good. We'll make it casual. All right.
Yeah,
Candidate number 3, please tell me about yourself and your last project.
absolutely. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Evgeny, for organizing this event. I'm very happy to be here. Uh, a little about myself. I'm a manual QA tester with about 1 year of experience. I have a university degree in geological engineering. And in my previous career, I worked as the information and data management specialist. A few years ago, I moved to the United States and switched from engineering to software quality assurance field. It basically happened in my previous company where I volunteered to be a beta tester of a desktop application my team and I were using at that time. So that was where I faced software testing for the first time. And I can tell you, I really enjoyed the process. I was not only a user as before, but rather I could impact the quality of the final product. That was great for me. So I made a decision to further develop myself in software quality assurance and join my current company as a software QA tester. In my current role, I tested both web and mobile applications. I've done functional, smoke, regression testing, report defects in Jira and made sure they were fixed. And also I spent a lot of time reviewing the requirements and writing test documentation. I'm really happy being in software QA field because first of all, I enjoy the process. I like working in a team, get exposed to different disciplines, break out a problem, and think about the most efficient way to solve it. And second, I can see the results of my work when I have an impact on the final product. I always keep my customers in mind, and I want them to have bug-free experience. So right now, I'm looking for my new opportunity where I can grow professionally. A little about my latest project. In my latest project, I was testing business messenger application that has common functionalities with Slack, Skype, and Trello. So basically, it combines messaging, video calls with project management tools. You can create tasks, to-do lists, and move them around across the Kanban board. So I was one of the 2 QA on the team, together with the developers, Scrum Master, and Product Owner. And we were working in Agile Scrum environment following 2-week sprints. My daily tasks included creating and executing test cases, performing functional build acceptance and regression testing of the latest builds. I had to perform testing on different browsers to ensure they are compatible across. And I also worked with a mobile device and tested Android OS. As part of Agile team, I also participated in planning, daily Scrum, daily stand-ups, and retrospective meetings. So that's basically a short story about me, and I would be happy to answer your questions.
Mm-hmm. Cool, great. You actually right on time. Can you tell me a little bit more about the project? So you said that this is a service that combine all messaging system into one?
No, that's basically a messenger app. That's a separate messenger app. But
okay.
that was created for business users, like for teams.
Mm-hmm.
And later they added project management tools to that. So that was not a messenger only as before, where you can create a chat, video call, but rather you can also create tasks, projects, to-do lists, and also you have a Kanban board where you can move your tasks across.
Is it a web-based application or desktop? I mean,
actually,
this
it
tool.
has. It's a web-based. It has versions for Android and iOS, and you can also create download standalone client for macOS and Windows. So that's available for almost any major platform.
But which one you've been testing?
I was mostly testing web and Android application.
Web and Android application.
Yeah.
So you've been working, I mean, which your team was doing an Android application and web at the same
Yes,
time?
my specific team was developing web and Android application.
Uh-huh. Okay. I guess simultaneously, right? So you have, let's say, two developers or one developer Android and one web developer, right?
Yeah, actually we have almost 4, but they were offshore in Eastern Europe, so it was kind of a challenge, one of the main challenges in the project to work with offshore team. Also, that was
what kind of challenges was that?
Communication. That's the main challenge. When you have time difference, you try to synchronize, But I was trying to create a good communication with them. When I was writing a bug report, I would include any information possible, like even record the video, because it's like the best way to show any problem. So they get what they wanted, and they knew how to fix it. What was the issue?
Okay, and you was working in the web and Android. Let me. Can you walk me through about your release processes, like how it was looking?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, it was 2 weeks sprints. In the beginning of the sprint, we would have a planning meeting where we would choose the user story to work this sprint. And then when developers start working on the coding, I was reviewing the requirements and writing test cases for that. So once we get the build from the developers, I would run smoke test just to check the main functionality, so make sure it's in testable condition, and then move on to functional testing. And also I would do the verification about the bugs, so they get fixed. And in the end of the sprint, we would run the regression testing. So it was a pretty early stage of the application, so we didn't have any automation. So it took some time yet to do the regression, but that was pretty much the release process.
How did you manage, like, I mean, for Android devices, did you use actual devices?
Yeah, actual device. I would connect it to Android Studio and download the APK file and work with my test cases.
Okay. How many devices did you use?
Well, that's a problem, For Android, there's so many devices and so many versions. So I had only a few of them, like Pixel, Samsung, the main ones.
Pixel and Samsung.
Yes.
Okay, but how did you manage Samsung? What kind of Samsung?
It was Samsung Galaxy S20.
Fancy one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how did you manage? Like, why by the way, Samsung S20 and Pixel, which one?
Pixel 3.
Pixel 3. Why was that devices you was testing?
So in the beginning, we were looking at the market and choose like the most popular devices for the United States.
Mhm.
That in the Android world, it's Pixel and Samsung.
Mhm. And like, I mean, where did you check this data, or who gave you this data?
There's some websites you can go and you can see the most popular um, Android operation system versions and devices. It's like
Mhm.
Statista. I don't remember exactly the website.
And who was
Statista.com.
okay? And you choose that. You made this
Not
decision, right?
myself, no. No, we were working as a team, but the last word was on the product owner because he's
Mhm.
one of the most experienced people on the team.
Okay, so what about the other two? What he was doing?
He's more experienced. How he was looking into the backend, like SQL and API testing. I myself did not have a lot of exposure to that, which I'm working right now on. I'm trying to learn the Postman and MySQL. So he was doing more backend testing, and I was focused on the front end
Mhm.
and functional.
So can you walk me through, like, okay, you had the release, right?
Mhm.
And um, on the release date, was it like both applications was released? You had the release day, and you have
No,
to, no?
no.
How that
Usually,
how that look like? Yeah.
every sprint was we were working on one feature, let's say for web. Another sprint we were working for mobile. We would never be able to combine two functionalities at the same time.
Mhm. So the same developer would developing, they would switching, or I didn't get it. Like,
No, no, we had a web developer and mobile developer for Android. They were working in Kotlin.
mhm. Interesting. Uh, okay, like, so can you tell me about your, um, let me ask you, I would say the classic question. uh, Tell me about your favorite issue that you found there.
Yeah, absolutely. So what comes to my mind, I'm always trying to think about the customer, so trying to be in his shoes. So one time I was running some negative testing, and I noticed that sometimes user they do not log in by typing the email address, but rather they copy and paste. So and there was a space in the end, and it was given an error message like it's invalid email address. So that was one of my favorite bugs. And what else? Uh, yeah.
So wait. You copy the password, right?
Yes,
You paste it, and in the end, it copied with
with a
a
space.
space, right?
And
And
application doesn't trim the space. So I
mhm.
know that it can be the case, but user they don't usually know such details. So and they get the error message, and some people can be frustrated about that.
How do you know that that was a bug? Maybe that was a feature.
uh, mm, Actually, there was a requirement about that because
Mhm.
there shouldn't have been spaces in the end and in the beginning of the email address.
Okay, cool.
And also, one of the bugs, what rather a security one, when you log in, then you log out, and you press back, and you become login again. So that's not how it's supposed to work.
You log in, then you log out.
Yes.
Then you press back and
back.
you log in again.
Again, yeah.
Hmm.
So that's what comes to my mind.
Okay, so can you tell me, like, okay, you found this issue, so what happened next?
I would open Jira and create a ticket issue. I would go and write all the steps to reproduce, add environment information if it was a Chrome browser or let's say Safari browser, and of course I would add the screenshot with indication to that space in the end. Also, if developer let me know he doesn't understand, I would record a video and add to the ticket, so it became much more clear.
Okay, got it. So what? Okay, so you wrote a bug, so you sent it to developer, and then what's happening?
Then we on the next daily meeting we discussed all the major bugs, and it gets assigned to developer who is working with the front end. So once he fixes in the next build, I verify that it got fixed, and I either close it, or if it's not fixed yet, I put a comment that please work on that again and check it out again.
Mm-hmm. Would you open the ticket all the time, like even if it's a minor issue or what?
No.
Like,
if it's a minor issue, let's say even when we have some typo, it's not always a major issue, it's minor. But if it's on the landing page, then it gets prioritized on the top, so it has to be fixed right away. But if it's a minor issue, no, I would not open a ticket right away, because if it's a minor issue, you can just text to developer and he can fix it for 5 minutes.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Let me check the timer. I think we should wrap it up. So let me start with a resume. Just keep it sharing. Overall, I would say your resume looks like I would say very much like any other resumes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that
you
transition...
mean from the positive point of view, or from it's more negative?
Not positive and not negative.
Okay.
Again,
Just average.
Just yeah. So I'm just trying to see. Overall, it's clear. That's what I really like about it. So I would definitely talk to you if I would looking for a QA engineer or for manual QA position, right? I mean QA analyst, QA engineer, and you're in the beginning. The thing is with the web development and with the mobile development, that's kind of tricky, because why I'm saying that, it sounds scary if you do this by yourself at the same time, and this is two different applications, web and mobile. It's I'm not sure and why you was testing only on two devices and how that was prioritized.
So you mean I need to focus on something more important, like what I know the best, and let's say put it focus on in the resume, right?
I mean, it's just confusing.
Mhm.
You
I
know,
see.
for me, it's just confusing. Uh, Maybe you have some different processes there in your company, but as far as I saw, it's just it's just impossible to work on the two big applications at the same time for one person. And if you say, what also confused me, like that you said on one sprint he was working on the web, on the other sprint he was working on mobile. That's also
Mhm.
confusing. Why is happening this way? Uh, so does it mean that the other developers should wait until you will be done, or like how? So he's working on two sprints then. I'm not sure why these weird processes in your company.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah.
it it just giving me more questions than answers.
Okay. I got
And
you.
yeah, um, yeah, I would I would uh, rethink about that definitely.
Mhm.
And I would say I have to I have a feeling that there is something not right, either what you're saying or either in your organization where you're working. Um, that's yeah, that's pretty much it. But overall, I really like the performance um, of your pitch overall,
Mhm.
and it looks like you have been practicing a lot before doing this pitch. And this is impressive. I
Yeah.
would
Thank
move
you.
forward. I would move forward, but these two things, it's could be hard stop for some
Okay.
managers.
Thank you so much for your feedback, Evgeny. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Okay, let's do a fun part then. Yeah, just you can stop sharing your screen, candidate number three. Narina, you can move back candidate number three to the to the rest of attendees. Let's do voting, guys. I really want to see we have a three candidates today, and let's see which candidate you would pick and you would go for the next step. I'm launching. I'll give you 1 minute, and I'll give you uh, my feedback as well. Mhm. 6 people voted. Come on, guys. We have 11 people. 10 people. One person left. 10 seconds. Yay. Okay. Nice. Let me share with you results. It's interesting. I have very similar feeling. Candidate number one and candidate number three. Candidate number three, 82%. Candidate number one, 18. Even though this is just for fun, but honestly, uh, I would say if that would be a really real interview, all candidates would be fail, as I mentioned. But candidate number three, he prepared the most, I would say. He got prepared the most, and he at least know his direction. And I would agree with candidate number three also. Candidate number one, as I said, it's the biggest challenge for interviewers. Candidate number one made this interview just harder with not knowing where he's going. Um, and candidate number two, the resume wouldn't go even. I mean, it wouldn't even go further uh, to the to the recruiters. They would just keep it. Um, and candidate number two needs to get more practicing, obviously. All right, guys. Let me share with you some insights about the from the recruiting perspective. Let me stop sharing the results. Oh, you know what? I have another poll for you. I want to know a little bit about you guys as well. Tell me who what you guys are doing. Let me. Can you just hit here? Like, where are you at right now? Are you graduates from the boot camps from school? Are you experienced QA? I know that we have experienced QA here as well. Or maybe we have developers and hiring managers, or like people from other tech fields. Okay, we have see five. We have one person from other field. Interesting. And we have a couple people experienced QA. Come on, guys, three people, just push something and let's chat. Okay, let me. We have. All right, let me. 2, 1. Okay, and polling. Let me share with you results. Okay, we have 6 people from schools and boot camps, and we have 3 people experienced QA. We have transition people from other fields. Interesting. Okay. So let me give you some insights from recruiting, from hiring managers, because we have applied hundreds of resumes. I mean, not applied. We have received hundreds of resumes, and we have applied tens of them to hiring managers. Um, Only a few of them just could make it. Most of them, I would say, the biggest mistake, and I saw that as I mentioned to candidate number one, it's actually very common when person doesn't know where he's going, and he's not focusing. He's a lot of people they submitting um, the resume not focused resume, like very generic resume, trying to cover everything. I was an NQA and I was a developer, and they don't know. And managers, they don't want to see that. They want to see some dedicated person to one specific field. Um, so that would be helpful for many people. Um, Another thing, yeah, we have right now, I would say from 100 resumes, I would say 10 would be sufficient. The other 90 would go to trash bin. Um, because as I said, we have a lot of resumes. Like we see that resumes from with a fake history as well, and this is easy. You can check it out. Um, Another thing, what we also saw, why why I would say even experienced engineers they have failed. Many experienced engineers have failed with actually hiring managers. They declined them just with I would say the biggest outcome was engineers they were not prepared for the interview, and they didn't know about the company. They were kind of careless. uh, I would say it's a little bit, from hiring managers, they look like kind of ignorant. So take keep it in mind when you're going to the interview. Just go and talk to. I mean, take it seriously. Get prepared. Try to find out about the company more. Another thing, not not very detail oriented, and this is also very common mistake that people, and I done this mistake also by myself. Typos in my resumes, right? And as you guys know, my English is not my first language. And before we didn't have Grammarly, like the app, which is can check the typos. So this is also like hard stuff for many managers. And during the interview, if person cannot be very specific and detailed, like what he has have been doing there in the company, what specifically he was delivering, how he did that, uh, it's also like no go, right? And especially like for testers, if you cannot explain how did you debugging for a specific issue or for specific bug that you found, you just very common answer like how did you what did you do when you found an issue? Okay, I wrote a Jira ticket. This is not the answer that managers want to hear. Take it in consideration, this thing, prepare like good story, uh, because interviewing is basically it's a selling yourself, nothing else. And even a good engineers, they cannot sell themselves uh, just because they don't have a clear story, clear, so the hiring manager would understand them clearly what he was doing and what exactly he's going, right? This is it, guys. Hit plus if today's session was helpful for you. It would be appreciated. If you have any questions, comments, I have another 10 minutes and we can chat about it. If no, um, go to our thank you, Victoria. Uh, go to guys to our webpage, apply to the next mock interview session, and yeah, if you have any other questions, hit me up in the Slack channel. It's better, guys, if you have some specific question, ask in the general, not general chat, in the mock interview chat. Let me show you which one, because i I cannot answer all questions in the direct messages, but I would answer more faster in the uh, mock interview channel. You see this channel, mock interviews. Find it. Just join to the Slack channel. Let me post it again. If you guys not there yet, just join, and I'll see you guys there. All right. All right, guys. Thank you for participating. It was fun, definitely. And for those who is in the job market, I wish you all good luck. Post questions. We'll try to help you out. And good luck with everything. All right, guys. Have a good day.